Out as a documentary for a BCIT journalism project evolved into something much more than just another project.
This is our only poll with the city. We are threatening the 1% with tents. We have to keep this intact. This is a physical occupation.
There's always been wealth and there's always been poverty. Why are you guys even here if there's no answer?
We're trying to have a peaceful protest here.
They are using powerful tactics to scare us. They will probably succeed. These tents need to go now. Gregor needs to come up with a plan and they need to be gone.
I have directed the city manager to expedite the appropriate steps to end the encampment as soon as possible.
After the VFD and the VPD came in last night, they lost a lot of goodwill.
Inspection here with the police.
Well, I mean, I certainly intend to disobey. What that's going to look like, I'm not sure.
What do? I lay on the floor and play dead. I tie myself to a pallet. I tie myself to a pole.
Rafferty Baker is co-director of the Occupation documentary, and he joins me in studio now. People will be able to see this at the Rio Theatre on Monday.
Monday night at doors open at 6. Show starts at 6:45.
How long is the documentary?
It's 82 minutes, feature length.
Okay. You spent a lot of time observing,
Yes.
watching the occupation, the village, the tent city down on the front of the art gallery. You weren't part of it.
No, we were observers, passive observers the entire time.
The documentary is co-titled, or
The subtitle is the Rise and Fall of Occupy Vancouver.
and I thought that was interesting because it indicates that the occupation movement is pretty much dead in
Well,
Vancouver.
that's certainly a point of debate still, and we've had people see that and come to us and say, it's like you're telling me my brother's dead and I'm standing right next to him, because there is an organization that still exists, but our documentary and what we saw as the power behind the political movement was the occupation, the physical encampment in the heart of the city. So that's what we chose to focus on. That's what the documentary looks at, and it's in that context that we use that tagline.
Were you pro or anti-occupation in your approach?
I would say neither. We approach this as journalists. As you mentioned in your intro, this was started as something for the BCIT broadcast journalism program. So we certainly came at it objectively. We were arm's length, we were there all the time. We'd stay super late, come super early, but we never...
Didn't sleep over.
We didn't sleep over. We never...
A tent.
We didn't have a tent. We didn't camp out. We didn't eat the food, which was always there for free. It smelled delicious. They would offer it to us, and that was one of the lines in the sand that we drew. And during all the General Assemblies, we would see them talking about the same thing over and over and over again, and we just, sometimes wanted to scream out, no, you did this already, but we didn't. We didn't engage.
But it also sounded like you weren't particularly engaged.
We were certainly engaged in what was happening. Yeah, but no, we weren't vested in any way.
Did you finish the film with any sense of what could have been, should have been, what happened to the movement? Because it seems clear to me from the title of your movie that you think it's pretty much a spent force, at least here at the moment.
Exactly. We watched the aftermath as it played out largely online. It became, I didn't follow it too closely because our focus was contained, but we watched it kind of digress into infighting online. They did definitely organize other events. The casserole solidarity marches with the Quebec students was largely Occupy people, but I personally don't classify that as an Occupy Vancouver demonstration. They still organize. They're going to have a birthday party on Monday at the Art Gallery. I don't think they're bringing tents, though, so I'm sticking to the tagline.
Did you leave with any sense, looking back on it, my memory is that it kind of got overtaken and became a bit of a downtown east side camp rather than the original protest about the disparity between people with and people without.
I think that was a very common perception, and in a sense it's definitely on the mark. I think those people were there at the beginning all along. I know radical anarchists were there from the get-go. They didn't leave, they didn't arrive, but I think what happened is when you saw the unfortunate overdose of Ashley Go, and then The next day, there was an Indigenous Solidarity March where the Black Bloc showed up. They didn't break anything, but just their mere presence. Then there was the infamous debate on homelessness, the mayoral debate that was very, very disrupted by the Occupy people, and I think that turned a lot of media off. And then finally, within that same few days, there was the sacred fire, so-called, that was extinguished quite violently by the fire department and the police. So I think that packed all together was a real turning point, and public support started to erode. So we didn't see more downtown Eastside people come in. What we saw was families and the middle class, more affluent people kind of stopped coming.
Because in the beginning, that group showed a lot of support. Seems to me on the opening weekend, there was something in the neighborhood of 4,000 people who turned out and were quite enthusiastic and quite supportive.
Yeah, and a lot of, more women were there at the beginning. I noticed fewer women showing up. I don't know if they felt less safe or less included or what, but less children. And you could definitely sense that. The union support that was huge at the beginning did persist. They were still there at the end, but yeah, something in the public sphere eroded there.
So the occupation, the documentary, 6:45 on Monday night at the Rio. How do people get tickets?
You can get tickets. Go to our website, www.theoccupationdocumentary.com, and there's a link to online tickets. We've still got some at the door if you show up, $8. And there's a panel discussion afterward, too, with the filmmakers, myself, a couple occupiers, and former CKNW reporter Dan Burt will talk about covering it for the news.
Rafferty, thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thanks.
Jessica will be here.